Well, good morning, everyone. It's Saturday, 25th of April, 2020. I'm Jim Hodson. I'm the Executive Director of the Fun With Aviation Museum, home of the most touchable warbirds in Texas. And we're here today for another installment of Fun With Aviation. Today's adventure is going to be with our celebrity famous Black MiG. But you don't want to see me, you want to see the airplane. There we go. The Black MiG, as I've been told, Black MiG 28. For any of you who have watched, seen Top Gun, that was an F-5 Tiger II, and this F-5 Tiger II is our celebrity here. All airplanes here, a lot like people, have all got their individual stories, and this one certainly does. This is our celebrity. If it could sign autographs for you, it would certainly do that. This was one of the Black MiGs in Top Gun. We're going to do a walk around in this airplane today. We're also going to talk about a few other things. I hope that you've got a good horizontal view today. If you do, give me a thumbs up, please. Hi, Mike. Give me a thumbs up if we got a horizontal view today. Okay, hopefully. There we go. Okay, good. We've solved that problem. Maybe we got the sound problem. We've got traffic here, so I'm going to get out of the traffic in just a bit. But we'll talk about this a little bit more. In between stoplights. Okay, the F-5 Tiger II was designed in 1959, and here's your bit of trivia for you today. It was designed by a gentleman. Chief designer was named Edgar Schmood. Edgar Schmood. Does anybody know what his claim to fame was? If you do, give me a thumbs up. Okay, Edgar's claim to fame was he was also the designer of the P-51 Mustang and the F-86 Sabrejet. So he was the lead designer on the F-5. The F-5 Tiger II, F-5E Tiger II, a later model. The initial model, the F-5A and B, of what was referred to as the Freedom Fighter, had very short legs. As you can tell from little skinny wings, it doesn't carry a lot of fuel unless you've got external fuel tanks. This one, when they came to the E model, they redesigned the wings a little bit. They gave it more gas so that it could go a little bit further, but still in all, we're talking about flight time of about 45 minutes. It was designed as a lightweight, all-weather, supersonic fighter. It was referred to as a freedom fighter because it was initially designed to be an export fighter by the United States. In fact, the only thing that the United States used these for, the Air Force as well as the Navy and the Marine Corps, are aggressor airplanes. We'll talk about that a little bit. But it was designed to be able to have the characteristics of a MiG-21, because that was the airplane that it was going to be simulating in most cases as aggressors. But in terms of the airplane being used around the world, there are probably more countries that utilize this aircraft and have flown it in their air forces than any other. I don't know. The F-16 has got about 25 or 26, but this airplane, the Tigers, the F-5s, are being flown by 30 different companies or 30 different countries around the world. So we got the nose. There's the pitot tube. We've talked about pitot tubes before. This is out here where it's undisturbed air, and it's going to get that ram effect. Let's see. As we move up the nose a little bit, you'll see two black barrels. Those are 20 millimeter cannons. They're simulated here for our purposes, but they are 20 millimeter cannons. It's a very effective gun for a gunfighter. You'll notice the shape of the airplane. It's got the Coke bottle effect. The cross-section rules. And we're going to show you the cockpit of this one in just a bit. You'll notice the color. The color is a gray, green, and blue. As an aggressor airplane, we, being the United States, have used these airplanes in a lot of different colors to simulate Soviet colors. The gray, green, and blue makes it very difficult to see an airplane from below. Some of the other colors, this one had been in before we refurbished it, was in desert colors, which made it very difficult to see from above. You'll notice what we refer to as the block numbers. We refer to these as block Soviet numbers. It's the style of markings that the Soviet Air Force has always used, and so this being an aggressor airplane, it has those markings. You'll notice this one, our F-5E Tiger II, it has two numbers. It has a serial number of 741558, and it also has a bureau number of 741558. We've talked about those before, and this airplane was originally bought and used by the U.S. Air Force with the 64th Aggressor Squadron, and later on it was transferred to the U.S. Navy for their Aggressor Squadron, which is VFC-13. The Marine Corps also flies these through MAG 41, which is our local MAG here at the Joint Reserve Base, and it's part of MAG 41, but they are based out of Yuma, Arizona, with VMFT 401. I remember what those letters stand for. V is for fixed wing, M is for Marine Corps, F is for fighter, and T is for trainer. So it's Marine fixed wing Marine Fighter Training Squadron 401 out at Yuma, Arizona. We'll get into the cockpit in a little bit. We're going to walk around here, and so you can see some detail of the airplane. It uses a J85 General Electric 85 it has a speed of 1.63 Mach. And when the airplane initially was brought out in the early 60s and used to fight against F-14s and F-5s out at Air Force Base, it caused a stir because the airplane actually beat the F-14s and beat the F-15s. And so the Navy and the Marine Corps, the Navy and the Air Force had to change the rules a little bit so the F-5 could not win. This is a AIM-9 Sidewinder missile. It's a normal missile for this airplane, and you can see the slats here in the front. Little skinny wing, which tells you a number of things. One is it tells you that it's not going to be able to handle ice very much. This airplane is built somewhat on the design of the T-38, which is a trainer that the Air Force has used for a long time. The leading edge here droops down so that you can have some slow speed characteristics. Even so, this airplane lands fast. Lands very fast. We used to, when I was flying A4s out of Kingsville, we would oftentimes take cross countries, and we'd stop at Kirtland out in Albuquerque, and the Air Force was coming out of places here in Texas, and they would end up going into Kirkland also because it was a good refueling stop. And one of the first things they would ask during bad weather, the students would come out and ask, "Did you get any ice?" Because if we were getting any ice on the A4s, they couldn't fly the T-38s. It would just change the shape of the wing and made it difficult to fly. A4 could just eat the ice. A4 didn't care about the ice. So here you can see the landing gear a little bit. Give you a little bit of a view of underneath the airplane. And these two doors that are down over here, right there. Okay, those two little doors, we got a greeting from Yuma, Arizona. Thanks, Ron. Spent a lot of time there at Cretines with the OV-10s. Those are the speed brakes. Not very big, and they would slow the airplane down a little bit. But with this airplane, a lot of times when they land them, and they're still being flown today, they don't use the brakes on the wheels. They do aero braking, which means they pitch the airplane up. Oops. Being told I've got it. There we go. We got the signal back again. I'm out here just kind of on the edge of the internet here at the museum. So if we have a little bit of problems with it, I'll try to move it around. So let's see. What do we got here? Hi from Florida. Hi, Florida. Hi from Taiwan. Okay, we've got our friend from Taiwan again today. Great. Taiwan is one of the other countries that flies this airplane, or did fly this airplane. The Vietnamese Air Force flew them during Vietnam. So the airplane has been around a lot. Two engines. Losing the signal again here. Two engines. And this airplane also, a further design on this airplane. Okay, a further design on this airplane was the F-20, the F-20 Tiger Shark. Okay, we're having a real problem with the internet signal here. So I'm going to back off a little bit. We may or may not be able to get in the cockpit, considering that I'm getting brakes on the signals here. But we can certainly walk around and you can see the airplane a little bit. So the F-20 Tiger Shark was late in the development of this airplane, and it was a single-engine airplane built by Northrop. Hello from Liverpool, England. Hello, Liverpool. Glad to see you. You will notice underneath the airplane, I'm going to try to get a little closer, but I start to lose the signal, it seems. You'll notice that there's a tail hook on this airplane, just like any other Air Force airplane, and especially Navy airplanes, although this airplane was never designed to go aboard the aircraft carrier. Okay, this airplane was not designed to go aboard an aircraft carrier. It just simply couldn't do it. The speed, it lands too fast, and you can't get it slow enough to do that. Now, one of the things I was thinking about the other day is we've had some fits and starts with these live videos, and I really appreciate everybody's patience with me being a rookie at doing this. But we have a system in the military, especially in the Navy and the Marine Corps, that when you operate around the boat, you never go aboard the boat without a couple of people in the back end of the boat called landing signal officers, or LSOs. And they grade every pass. Every time you come aboard the boat, they grade the pass. They grade it anywhere from a 5 down to a 0. A 0 means that you didn't get aboard, or you didn't complete the pass. 5 means that it was a perfect pass. And what everybody was always looking for was what was referred to as an OK3 wire. You know, there's 5 cables on the back of an aircraft carrier, and what you're looking to do is capture the 3rd wire. First wire is not good. You're close to the round down, and that means that you weren't stabilized in the approach. So what I'm going to ask you to do for me, so I can be graded on these videos, is as we get down towards the end of it, you can give me a grade from 1 to 5. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I want to try to get these better. What's the G rating, both positive and negative? Okay, you're going to ask me one of those questions. Okay, let me see if I've got something on it real quick. It's something I don't know offhand. I'm going to guess it's probably around 6. It may be as high as 9. I've got something here though that I might be able to tell you that. I have a cheat sheet. I'm not supposed to tell you that, but I do have a cheat sheet. Let's see. It's windy here today, so it's not helping me at all. You know what? I'm not finding the G limits on the airplane right now, so I apologize for that. I'll pick that up later and put it on the post for this video. We're going to walk around. I'm going to attempt to get around the front of the airplane and see if we can give you a view inside the cockpit. This airplane, another OK3 so far, great. Okay, one of the other things that this airplane is being used for now, in addition to being aggressor, is there's something that all the pilots are going through in the business world, as well as in the airlines, and it is referred to as upset training. Now, upset training is inadvertently losing control of the airplane and finding yourself upside down or in what's referred to as an unusual attitude. So there are companies out here that train pilots for upset training. We did that in the airlines all the time. That was something we did virtually every time we went into the simulator. You'd close your eyes, they'd put you in an unusual attitude, and then it was your job to get out of that unusual attitude as safely and as quickly as possible. Well, there are companies that use these F-5s for that kind of training. We've had some corporate aviation people around here locally who have come out and used our T-38 simulator, which is in the museum, as a static simulator to get familiar with the cockpit, and then they went out and did upset training in these airplanes. 3-wave sound. Sound is a wave off. Okay, we having problems with the sound again? Let me check. The sound is mostly because of the wind out here today. I don't have my music playing in the background, which happened the other day. So we're going to walk around and kind of give you a little bit more of a walk around on the airplane. Very nimble airplane, very quick, very responsive. They quit production in 1979. in 1979, but of course the airplane is still being used, and the T-38s are still being used a lot. This is one of my favorite views of the airplane, actually. It's just got such a sleek tiger kind of a shape to it. And oh, you may have noticed up on the tail we got a red star. The red star obviously is a Soviet star, and it's just more the idea of making the air-to-air, the aggressor training, more real for people. Here's where you can really see the shape on the body. You can see how it tapers in. It's the Coke bottle effect, as it's referred to, so that the cross-section of the airplane stays relatively the same throughout the length of the airplane, so it goes through the air better, so you can really see how it curves in and goes out. We even got Kevin Nelson out here watching today. He's helped with this airplane. He helped paint it. So I'm going to be gingerly moving around and see if I can get up to the cockpit where we can show you a little bit of what's going on inside the cockpit. We've got a pretty day for this. Hope I don't manage to screw it up. Okay, I've still got a signal. So, losing the signal. Okay, losing the signal. So we're going to see, we may have to do this a little bit from afar. I've got the signal back. Losing the signal. Okay. Very tight cockpit. Very tight inside, but it's very comfortable. Pilots like it when it's tight and everything is right there and easy to get at. Little tiny gun sight. You can see that up in the front. Oh, losing it again. There we go, coming back. You can see the gun sight. Very small gun sight. Very tight cockpit. And a little bitty radar. Now this is not a glass cockpit, obviously. So this is what we euphemistically refer to as steam gauges. Just kind of hold it there so you can see it a little bit. I can't get in over the edge so that you can see, but there are 2 throttles for the airplane because there are 2 engines on this airplane. The gauges over on the right-hand side are engine instruments. If you can see, notice that they are the same. There's 2 that are the same. It's got percent RPM, and then it's got exhaust temperatures and nozzle positions and things like that, fuel flow. So that's how you can monitor both engines at the same time. On the left-hand side here, I'll show you those are flight instruments. So you're going to be scanning the cockpit. You're mostly going to be on the left-hand side when you're flying it. You're mostly going to be scanning those instruments. So you get this pattern that goes around and around with the instruments, so that you'll be scanning for airspeed, angle of attack, direction, whether you're climbing or descending, and those types of things. And so that's what you're doing when you're flying under instrument conditions. Now, right next to the gun sight, you'll see a little device there with 3 little holes on it, 3 squares, and that's the angle of attack indicator that you would see when you'd be in the cockpit coming in. If you saw an arrow up at the top, it meant you were too fast. If you saw a circle in the middle, it meant you were on speed. And if you saw a yellow arrow at the bottom in red, it meant yellow arrow in the bottom meant that you were too slow and you needed to speed it up. So let's see, what else can we show you here? Let's see. How did the museum get this particular aircraft used in the movie? Okay, well these airplanes went from the Air Force and then got transferred over to the Navy, and the Navy used them for a period of time, and then they decided they didn't need so many of them for the job of aggressor air, so they made some of them available. To museums. Now I'm going to tell you that they didn't tell us this was a MiG-28. They didn't tell us that this one was in Top Gun. Like so many of the airplanes out here, we didn't know the full story. We didn't know the full story on this airplane until after we had it and did some research on it, and then we found out that Yep. Found out that this was one of the airplanes in Top Gun. Hi, cuz. So I'm going to just kind of walk around here a little bit, let you get a look at the airplane a little bit more. We did a survey recently, and we got some very good information from you folks. We are looking at a time when we may be able to open the museum again, opening up for full service. In other words, being inside the building, maybe quite a while. But we are looking at a model that might allow us to have the air park open, let people keep their distancing, and still be able to come out and enjoy the airplanes. So let's see here. Still don't have the controls all that well. So, but I've got it locked on. So let's see. We're getting on along about 20 minutes here. So if anybody's got any other questions, please ask. We've got a model contest that will be ending in 2 days. Today's the 25th. It will be ending on Monday, and then we'll put out the judging on that. We also have items in the resource section of our website. There's things there for kids, and there's things there for adults too. So a lot of that kind of stuff. We also have a lot of videos, an awful lot of videos. B-36 Peacemaker Museum has a YouTube website with just a ton of videos, aviation videos. Another one by a friend of ours, Don Pyatt, is Av History Buff. He has lots and lots of videos. Between the two of those sites, there's almost 7 million viewers have viewed the videos there. And of course, we've got the one from the museum here, and we're putting these videos on there as we finish them up. Some of the other things that we are doing, we have our Texas Aviation STEM magazine that's free. It's electronic, and let's see. Can she carry ECM pods? Yeah, it certainly can. The airplane ECM pods, electronic countermeasures pods, it can carry lots of different pods on it. They can carry ordnance, they can carry bombs, they can carry other missiles and weapons, they can carry drop tanks, and they can certainly carry ECM pods, yes. And let's see. On the T-38, whoops, wait a minute, what do we got here? Difference between the T-37 and the T-38 and the F-5. Well, the T-38 was built as a trainer. So it's got 2 seats, and it does not have quite the same capabilities. It was an earlier version of the airplane. This one has a bigger wing, carries more fuel, and some of those types of things. And has better weapon systems. So I think that's going to be about it for today. We've got a list of airplanes that you'd like to see. Next week is going to be somewhat of an important week. We've got Global Giving Tuesday is coming up on May 5th, and we're going to try to do some special things for that. Other than that, we've got some airplanes that y'all have wanted to see. You want to see the F-4, you want to see the F-18. We've got a couple of other surprise airplanes here. So what I'm going to do for now is tell you thank you for being with us here today. Hope you enjoyed this. I think we got some of the issues straightened out that we didn't have before, and I'm grateful for that, so that we can give you a better show. And once again, I also wanted to mention our friend Eric Johnson. Eric has done lots of these walk-arounds, and some of them from in airplanes. He's a real pro, and you might want to check out his website, and we'll kind of go from there. David, thank you for the 5. I appreciate that a lot. And for the rest of you, be safe, be sane, keep your distance from everybody, and be well. And we look forward to having you here with us when the time comes. So for now, thank you from the Fun With Aviation Museum and Fun With Aviation. Bye, folks.